Welcome back. Thank you very much for appreciating this wonderful path that we are all taking as human beings, and for joining me in uncovering of this wonderful gift that the life is. The wonderful gift that has from time to time some patterns, or likely we can say that they look like patterns, because most of the times each and every situation that you think got repeated has totally different context, but we can see all those elements evolving in some direction. This direction is something that is quite interesting, and usually it is said to have both the map and the whole journey that is going over all those points on the map in different contexts. So just to give you this specific perspective, I wanted to show you something that I discovered, or I got really informed with, or I got unveiled for me as this human being with this mental aspect, to see how it might work for not only me but for you. What I mean is, I wanted to show you this human journey that is my human journey, and the method that I already introduced previously to show you how we can use chakras and hero's journey to just map not only where we are, but as well to map the possible transition that where we not only would like to go, but likely would go. So let me start with this beautiful image that I got really hard to say. Downloaded, the image appeared, the idea appeared. Surely there was combination of intuition and those things that I was seeing while creating this whole series about chakras and hero's journey. I saw that if we condense everything, we can say that we live not only in those cycles. We have couple of elements that tend to be these elements that let us grow, like in here you see as human being we evolve like on those elements about chakras. You saw that when we are infants we have totally different aspects that we are evolving. When we are toddlers as well, there are different aspects, kids, different aspects, adults, different aspects. In Hindu tradition it is highlighted even by the specific age where those areas start to really work, start to progress in this aspect of getting to know better and better of who we really are. That we are not only our physical aspect, but much more beyond that. Beyond the mental aspect, with all those emotions that happen on mental aspect, on intellect aspect. And we are going to the spiritual aspect. And what I wanted to highlight is that for that evolution for us as human beings, and not only as human beings, not only as for human beings, but for everything that happens around our planet Earth, the evolution on the planet, it might go these ways. So, first ingredient is the chakra. The chakra, not only as this energy center that is located on the spine and up on the crown, but as well this element that has some characteristics that can be attached to certain aspect of us as human being. And the second ingredient is this hero's journey that we were talking about some time ago, that has at least 3 stages, 3 phases, where we start with this phase called status quo, and we are evolving through those phases to reach our new status quo, to reach this point where we develop ourselves not only to certain degree, sometimes as well as the degree of mastery that is on this path, and that is what we will show later on. So this basic aspect of this POCH method I got into more details in our Facebook group, in our community, and in here, as you see, this is this constant evolution on all those levels. On the physical level, where chakras, those lower chakras are the map of evolution on each layer of chakra, on the root chakra, on the sacral chakra, solar plexus chakra, that usually is already attached to this intellect, emotions aspect of us. Later on the heart chakra, the throat chakra, then the third eye chakra for the spiritual aspect. As well, the heart chakra is already on the boundary. The throat chakra is as well said to be this higher level that we are evolving to, and the top is crown chakra, and all those are our journeys on all those levels, and not necessarily it's like layer by layer, because we are not so simple as human beings. We are beautifully complicated, and this is really the God's design. The mind, the intellect, is not able to perceive all of the complexity that happens in here. It's not able to comprehend all those interconnectivities of internal organs, the internal organs with how you function as human being, with your eyesight, with the way your posture works, how your digestive system works. All those elements, they are so beautifully complex for the mind, but they beautifully just drive you through your human hero's journey, through your experience here on Earth, in all those layers, on the physical, on the intellectual and emotional, and on the spiritual layers. So this path of transformation for this method is something that I would say is something from being just the physical human being that is worrying most of the time about spiritual aspect, about survival, about stability on these lower levels, sense of security as well, on different levels, financial security, security in the environment as well. And this is the path of transformation of human being that goes through all those steps, all those tests, all those needed abandonments of attachment to certain physical aspect, material aspects, and rediscovering true purpose, then going to this higher level of working on themselves on emotional level and this intellectual human being level. Not necessarily mental, because mental as well, in some of the traditions, mental is really located a bit higher. So in here it's about the intellect, about this logical mind that really is the one that tries to find patterns, tries to replay the situation, tries to play back the certain scenario that it used, and it used to work, but it's not this aspect that is driving us. And while going through this emotional and intellectual aspect, just gaining new mental ability, having some experiences and some trials, and stabilizing your character, you are going into this other aspect. You are discovering that beyond this mental aspect that you have something more that really wants to drive you. There's something more that is having this courage to just drive you forward, to drive you to something new, something unknown, and wants to drive you even though you have some roadblocks that appear that say, no, maybe not, don't do it right now, just keep safe, stay in same place, don't move, don't experience. You already experienced, why you need to experience, go to sleep. So that aspect as well of you is this aspect of this loving and conscious aspect of you as human being, this conscious aspect that gives you the highlight. Okay, what if I'm built for much more than only my physical aspect, only my mental aspect? What is beyond this mental aspect? Because I'm feeling, I'm seeing, I'm experiencing that there is something more beyond this physical aspect, beyond this emotional and intellectual aspect of us as human beings, because our head, our intellect cannot handle some situations. It just needs first to experience those. What is it? Why we are being driven into some other directions? This why is one of the essences of how your heart navigates your life. Heart is the navigator that wants you to have experience, gives you the courage really to create something, to build something, to be the creator of your own life rather than the actor, rather than the one that just plays his role instead of being the producer, instead of writing your own scenario for your life. So heart wants to be the driver, but usually the intellectual aspect is really trying to keep you in your safe zone, in this environment, in the circumstances that you are so used to, and you are stable in that aspect. So just moving further, you then go to your spiritual aspect, because you start to see that this heart, why it guides you, and what is this driver that gives this navigation aspects to the heart. You start to ask, you start to question, okay, what really is happening? Because, yeah, okay, I see that I'm being pulled in some direction, but why really I receive those directions and I am pulled? Who gives me those directions? You start to think, okay, there is something beyond this intellectual aspect of all of us, this aspect that is driven on senses, on experiences, on all those aspects that are related to this physical, emotional, and intellectual elements. And you start to see that, okay, from time to time, something pops in and says that I should do that. And sometimes you even tried to do what popped into your mind fully, and you saw that this experience was quite profound in really having all the building blocks working. You engaged this experience without any preparation, without any planning, without any risk analysis, without any threat modeling, without any logical interaction with what you are going to do. You just said, okay, let's go. And you had beautiful experience most of the times. You engaged with your intuition, started to see that your intuition might give you some interesting guidance on where to go. And then you start to think, okay, intuition, but what is it? This intuition, how it gives me this guidance. And then you start to look further up. You then see the spirituality. You have your spiritual discoveries, you have experiences, you have even the enlightenments. You start to see the world in totally different perspective. You start to see the world beyond your emotions, beyond this intellectual aspect. You start to see that this is so beautiful. The creation that is happening is something beyond what we can appreciate. From these tiny aspects to those macro aspects of the universe, everything works, everything interacts. All those paths of different entities that move around, not only human beings, not only plants, animals, the planet itself, planets, galaxies, everything interacts in beautiful dance. And someone plays this beautiful music that inspires everything to dance. Then you see that this is something beyond you experienced previously. You start to transform yourself on this spiritual aspect. You start to see more and more elements around spirituality that you find on your road. You start to see that you are not only beyond those aspects that we mentioned, but you start to see that all those aspects beautifully interact. Your physical aspect can empower your intellectual and emotional aspect. It can give you huge amounts of energy that are needed to raise your vibration. This emotional aspects as well, if you feel the joy, the energy lands in your body, you feel the even greater appreciation for what is going on, you feel even more love, you feel even more happiness, joy, all those beautiful emotions that we are experiencing here on earth more and more. And the more of those we start to experience, the more beautiful experience we have if we start to convert those experiences that previously intellect digested as negative. If we start to digest those as positive, those as beautiful experiences, as opportunities, then we are moving into being this holistic version of ourselves, this ultimate destination for self-development. So, to get into this aspect of describing a bit of my now and just showing you how easily we can start to use this path of chakras and human hero's journey method, this POCH method, I thought I will show you those basic core attributes that usually are attached to those chakras. Of course, beyond those, there are lots of other attributes that you can attach in here. There are physical attributes, psychological attributes, and spiritual attributes that you can connect in here. I just took those basic ones that most of the time repeat in those great resources that I was advising in previous episodes of this path of chakra and your human hero's journey. So this is what is this core essence of this whole method that I want to present to you today, of this whole example that I want to present to you today. So starting from the root chakra, it's this to have aspect, the physical energy, self-security, stability. Most often they appear in here. The sacral chakra is to feel joy, creativity, sensuality, and pleasure. Then solar plexus is to act, this mental clarity, self-confidence, willpower, and humor. Then heart chakra is to love. So love, trust, connection, and surrender. Another one is the throat chakra, so to express. Usually it's connected with communication. It's communication, the truth, the purpose, the service that we are doing. Then the third eye chakra, to perceive, the vision, the intuition, as we already mentioned in previous episodes, the perception, the equanimity, so being stable with emotions as well. So another one, and the last one in those physical chakras, is the one, the crown chakra, that is represented in here by to know. So to know the oneness, this wisdom that we have, the awareness and bliss. So those are those core attributes. We can have other ones, like we can attach roles in here. So starting from the root chakra, the server, then sacral chakra, artisan, then for the solar plexus, the warrior, then for heart chakra, the scholar, then for the throat chakra, the sage, then for the third eye chakra, the priest, and for the crown chakra, the king. Additionally, we can align some paths in here. So this path, the first one for the root chakra is the purpose, then for sacral is beauty, then for solar plexus is choice, then for heart chakra it's energy, then for the throat chakra the truth, for third eye the oneness, and for the crown chakra love. We have some attributes that are like the single attributes that are often connected. So service, as you see in here, it's sometimes attached to root chakra as well. The creativity in here is for sacral chakra, the will and intention for the solar plexus, compassion and transcendence usually in here for heart chakras. Heart chakra is this center that often is mentioned to be like this point where you transcend this physical aspect. Then wisdom for the throat chakra, vision for the third eye, and bliss for the crown chakra. And universal laws that are as well possible to be connected in here. So for this very first chakra, so root chakra, this law of dharma, so your purpose, then law of attraction for sacral chakra, law of manifestation for the sacral for the solar plexus chakra, law of cause and effect for the heart chakra, then law of thought, this logos element for this throat chakra, law of one for the third eye chakra, and law of love for the crown chakra. Additionally, on those levels of chakras, we can attach planes of existence. So this physical plane, astral plane, causal plane, akashic, so this knowledge that the experience that happened for all of us, this mental aspect, this Buddhic aspect as well, this consciousness that is as well the Christ consciousness that is located most of the times in here in third eye. It's about soul in here as well, and this messianic aspect that gets us connected to this highest consciousness, to God, to highest aspects of ourselves, to this oneness that we are going from. Additionally, we can connect it back to the tree of life that we were mentioning. So this basic level, this world of matter, then consciousness of matter, then consciousness of energy and form, then awareness of consciousness, then creation and destruction of energy and form, then energy and form itself, and this messianic aspect as mentioned previously. So this initial connectivity points for human being and chakras is this core essence of really where we are going. So holistic human being. Who is holistic human being? So holistic human being is this synergy of body, so this physical and physiological aspects, the mind, the emotional and intellectual aspects, the psychological aspects, and the soul, this loving and conscious aspect, so this spiritual aspect. To just show you a bit more in here, it will be the best to depict it this way. So on the left side you have those two aspects that all of us have and all of us are conscious about. So this body, this physical aspect, and those likely journeys that we can go in here. So in here it's this journey where I feel I am right now. So for the body, for those elements that we were highlighting, for the root chakra and the sacral chakra, for the status quo, so where I feel I am right now is with this pleasure and sensuality. They don't tend to change. They don't tend to have any event that is outside this regular experience. On the other hand, for this departure element, where usually you have some elements that start to push you into this newer aspect of you, this new status quo, I see this stability about my financial aspects. So those aspects that start to highlight that I need to as well upgrade in here to just move to the new level of consciousness, not necessarily to gain much more, but maybe just lose the attachment as well to financial aspect that might tie me too much. That might be as well this element in here. For this initiation phase, where usually you start with these elements of trials, and then you go through those elements about really highlighting to yourself this higher aspect of you, this attachment of your ego, this aspect that you are beyond just the physical form. This initiation phase shows quite clearly where I feel I am in the aspect of creativity, in the aspect of joy, and in the aspect of physical energy. Because physical energy as well, it's good to see how this physical energy is located on your path. Same as self-security. Why self-security is in the return? Because I feel very secure with the consciousness that this self is much beyond the physical aspect, much beyond the emotional aspect, much beyond this intellectual aspect that brings huge sense of security on this self-security aspect. The sense of security that can really give you the joy of life regardless the external circumstances, because you are the one that chooses how you want to experience each and every situation, what emotions you would attach to certain situations. It's not the external environment that forces you to experience those situations, it's you. You are the one that chooses the experience. So additionally, as status quo on the right side, which you probably don't see right now as I am on the right side, the status quo for me is this oneness and bliss. For me, there is awareness of both, but it's not yet this aspect that I am reaching. It's not this aspect that started to really go on this human hero's journey, for me, other aspects from the spiritual aspect started already to engage. So aspect of communication. I'm communicating to you right now, which for me even half a year ago or year ago was really a pain to sit and record myself and watch myself talking. And right now I'm standing in front of you and doing this whole webinar on this public side of internet. It's not even in this internal private group, it's external. And I'm not afraid anymore of doing that, of communicating. As well, on this communicating aspect, I'm not afraid of talking. I know that I need to communicate. Especially when I have great message to pass. So additionally, this perception element and equanimity elements as well, I think this is those moments where those started to engage. For me, this adventure started, these experiences on the road started to happen, and some of the other ones, they started to go even farther on this initiation phase, where you have some trials, where you have this wisdom that reaches you have those profound experiences of really this wisdom that you download from somewhere. You don't know why, how, but you know this is truth. This awareness of really knowing much more about what is happening, knowing much more about how to connect the dots. This awareness of what is being shown in here. This path of chakras and human heroes journey method is not something that it's just easy to connect. It just got connected, and I've been made aware about this connectivity, this truth as well. Out of my previous experience, when I was really looking for the truth, looking for the true information, not disinformation, not misinformation. As well, I know that it's totally different level right now than it was before. I know lots of elements already by just feeling that I know those elements. I don't interpret some of those, it's just knowing. I don't know how, why. The mind doesn't know what, how, why, who, when. But that is just the fact that some of those information, when downloaded, that they were made like a fact that got downloaded, and the consciousness received this as a fact. So additionally, this vision and intuition, the vision really to do something that is beyond myself, to do something, to deliver this something to you that is helping me to evolve, giving it to you as well, to give you the opportunity to expand yourself beyond what you already know about yourself. And the intuition that recently got better and better in lots of situations, not necessarily in really doing some things, taking actions, financial aspects. Already tried couple of times this intuition that was saying, do it. I did it. And the effect was much better than when I did it with best of my knowledge and best of my experience and with best of strategies. And in this return aspect, this aspect of service that I'm doing right now, I'm receiving this grace only for this service. I'm investing in providing you with this best context that I found for mine and for your self-development. This is much beyond this self-development methods that you might know. It's self-development on all those layers of you as human being. This is holistic self-development, not self-development on physical aspect with the health aspect, not the self-development on this emotional aspect, on psychological aspect. It's on all those aspects, the path to your complete self-development on all those levels, because we all evolve on all those levels most of the time in parallel, and most of the time they are interconnected. So to just show you this comparison of perspectives, the previous one was more focusing on those aspects, and this one is focusing on the chakras. So quite similar picture, but from different perspectives. So from chakras, from root chakra, this aspect of departure, intuition and return. This aspect for sacral chakra as well, where I am basing on the sacral chakra. Same for solar plexus, same for heart, throat, third eye and crown chakra. So those two views that we already have while using the chakras, one on this more generic aspects of body, mind and spirit, and second one with individual chakras, just describing those a bit more detailed. To just remind you, on those classical hero's journey stages, the stage one is the stage of departure, so it's call to adventure, refusal of the call, supernatural aid, crossing the threshold, and belly of the whale. Another one is the stage 2, this classical hero's journey stage 2. It's about as well this road of trials that I was mentioning, the meeting with goddess, woman of temptress. Woman in here means most of the time life, most of the time as well ego maybe in here, atonement with the father in here is really focusing on who we are and detaching from the ego, just going to your true self. Apotheosis, so really having this ultimate reborn in here, this ultimate boon, so this ultimate gift that we are quite often having in this third stage, where we have lots of choices. So refusal of the return from the other phase, where we went into really the ultimate state of knowing the magic flight, where we just go away from certain situations that we were stuck in, maybe those situations that we really didn't accept this calling, but this magic flight is really going above those blockages that we had. The rescue from without is quite similar, but really focusing on this aspect that sometimes you land really in a place where your mental aspect, where your emotional aspect is really not able to go out of. And as well, that this next stage, this crossing the return threshold, so really going back with all this new knowledge and just going back to either mastering two worlds or just having the freedom to live. Why they are important? They are important because we can use them to extend what we already did with this POCH method, this my story map for the body. We can extend not only just by highlighting where we are in status quo, but as well we can say, okay, for the stability, maybe from financial aspect, where I am specifically on this journey. Is it crossing the threshold or some other aspect? For me, I think I'm in here for the initiation phase, this creativity, joy and physical energy, where I am. For me, for creativity and joy, this is the road of trials for both. Because for creativity is this really checking those elements that I want to do, I want to create, but those are constant space of trials. The joy as well, because these situations that happen as well, those are the trials of how long you can stay in this joyful state. For the physical energy, atonement with the Father, so this element 9 is really to go out of this aspect of us as human being that is maybe not only limiting us, but showing who we are in the essence. So physical energy has this dependency on really being aware of who we are. If we go beyond just focusing on physical energy, we are aware that we are something more, and we can download much more energy than we need, then this is the phase I'm in. And the self-security I was mentioning, crossing the return threshold, I feel that I found this element that gives me the stability in here, gives me this self-security element in this mental aspect that really just connects all the time and says, okay, you know why you are secure. It's not only be secure, it's you know why you are secure. Additionally, for this mind element is just, I see like for the departure, for the surrender element, is the belly of the whale where this is like a womb. So this is something new is really growing in here, and for surrender to say just let it be how it is meant to be. I want to play my role, I want to create and I want to be this creator that I was born to be. And surrender to this intuitive guidance that we receive. Self-confidence, for me, it got much more improved by this supernatural aid. What might be the supernatural aid? Supernatural aid might be your spiritual guide, might be something that gave you those keys to see that you are enough all the time and you are exactly where you are meant to be. For me, as well, it was discovering this autobiography of Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda. This was one of the ultimate keys to really discover this self-confidence. The initiation, on the other hand, is this humor and mental clarity. Meeting with the goddess for the humor, because it was opening up of how humor might give you really this key to have joyful life. How you can convert all those situations that you perceived as negative with sense of humor, with feeling that it's something that you should do. This mental clarity as well. For me, it's, I think, this road of trials, because still this intellect, the ego, has some reactions, some automatic reactions. And this is this progress of really letting go in here. Additionally, for the return phase, this trust, love and connection. So for trust, crossing the return threshold, because I believe, I trust that everything that happens for you and for me, it happens because we needed to experience those elements. We needed to be conscious that those elements were happening for us, not to us. Additionally, this is this love element that, for me, I feel it's this rescue from without. But why? It's because this is the step for the ultimate love. This is the step of really not knowing the love, what it is, just knowing the word, to really knowing what this experience, what this emotion, what this feeling, what this essence of who we are really is. And this connection, this heart connection to each and everyone, to all the relatives, to the closed ones, to everyone that is in your life, to have this freedom to live, freedom to experience, freedom to have your journey, your human journey. And this last element in here that I want to highlight, this is this smaller version of what we can do with Path of Chakras method, is about the spirit. So for this departure, for the communication, I feel it's this incubation phase, so belly of the whale, for really speaking more and more often with more and more self-confidence. Just knowing that what I'm speaking about, it gives real value to someone. As well, this perception, I know that for the perception, it's another aspect when I received this supernatural aid. This consciousness about some facts, some truths that are the truths. This equanimity as well, it's this crossing of the threshold where this stability is becoming something of a norm, not something that is an exception. And for this initiation, as you see, it's lots of elements are happening. This awareness with constant trials, the wisdom, where those preparations for this human hero's journey, and just downloading some more elements when I was really getting to know what this autobiography of yogi is about, and additionally discovering this Kriya Yoga that Paramhansa Yogananda was mentioning. The truth, this woman as tantress, in here this aspect of really this aspect of ego, of life that wants to really say, okay, this truth that you discovered is not really the truth, and this is because of that, and you just know that it is. This purpose with this road of trials as well, to really discover on each and every step why this direction that you are taking is the best one possible. This vision and intuition, this vision with atonement with the Father, that when you feel you are guided, when you let yourself be guided, this intuition, this meeting with the Godness, where you have this experience of using the intuition, of really feeling that you are not only speaking using your voice, but you have totally different levels of speaking accessible as well. And this service, crossing the return threshold, where you see that service is essential for us as human beings. This is what we were born to do, to serve others, experience, have courage. And know that we are one, experiencing everything possible. This map of life now, this is more detailed, but I think you can get the picture of how you might use that for really growing and for really knowing where you are. So on the root chakra level, on the sacral chakra, solar plexus, heart chakra, throat chakra, third eye chakra and crown chakra, you can just map those elements from the hero's journey to just see where you are on this map of your life. and where you can go, and potentially how you will have the transformation. As you see, some of those elements, they just move to different stage, which is one of the interesting discoveries that I did. And it's hard to say that I did that. It's definitely not this limited eye. It's definitely this help from this external consciousness that had a role in here, that gave all those visions, that opened this connectivity to show you what this is about, what your journey might be about. So in here you saw some samples of how path of chakras and human hero's journey might work for me. Do you think it's as well of something that you can use for yourself? Do you think you deserve to see where you are and to see where you probably would go, or what might be the destination, what priorities you can have as human being? See, we were working on this whole series to just give you this perspective that you are holistic by design, and this map is the way from this physical aspect, or from mental aspect, or from emotional aspect, to this holistic aspect of you as human being. So if you would like to connect, if you would like to get to know more, just drop a comment under this webinar and we will be more than glad to contact you, and we will be more than glad to talk about our hero's journey, your hero's journey, and how we can connect. So have a great weekend and see you next time on your next step of this human hero's journey that we have. And right now we have the map, and right now we have the method to navigate this map. Enjoy. Bye.